Hello again, this is continuation of the last video. In this video, we will learn how to work with JSON and Parquet file in PySpark. Whether you are dealing with a massive dataset or simply curious about data processing, understanding these file formats can completely transform your workflow. So let's begin. Welcome back again. In our last video, we have learned how to deal with CSV file while working in PySpark. Today, we are going to explore two widely used file format for data manipulations, namely JSON and Parquet. We will walk you through their unique features and show you how you can read and process this file using PySpark. So I will start with JSON or JavaScript Object Notation. JSON is a highly versatile format for storing structured data. It is simple, human readable, and integrates simply with a variety of programming languages. Here is an example of a JSON file. I go to this particular website. So this is kind of an example of a JSON file. Here we have a kind of key value pair. So we have a fruit, apple, size large, color red. So this is a simpler format, but we can have a complex format of JSON file. So we have multi-line from one layer to different layer you can have. So for example, we have a quiz and the subject equal to sports, then question one, and then for each of these questions we have different options and also the answer. Similar structure is here. So subject under quiz we have sports and maths and then Q1, and then for maths it's Q1, and there is another questions under the math Q2. So it could be sometime simple, but sometime it could be complex. To learn more about JSON, you can go to W3 School. I can put this link in the descriptions. Where you can go to the JSON's more detail and understand that. But for our own perspective, we will start by reading a JSON file. So I have a JSON file called zipcode.json. And to read the JSON file, we need to write it in a data file. So for example, I say dfj for JSON one. And the similar way that we read the CSV file, we do the same here. So and then for here we can put like format, because you remember last time we said format and then we defined the with kind of format. So here we say format and then we define it as JSON. If you remember that there is another way of reading it, so instead of saying it spark read dot format, we can also do it something like JSON and then we just put the file name here, but ultimately it will be the same. So and if we want to see the records, we need to put the same way dataframe dot show. So instead of the 20 records, I just want to see like maybe 3 records. This is quite easy to understand. Here, every row contains one record. So this is not very complicated way of writing the record. So I just want to give you the demonstrations of that how we can deal with both simple and the complex form of JSON. So this is how you can see, and also you can use print schema. I have a multi-line example of JSON file. I just want to show you here. You can go to JSON viewer. This is the name of the website where you can put any JSON format and then it will show you the records. So actually the JSON is something look like that. It has a name and which contains a value, then age, and we have a car, but car is an array because car has two different value. One is the car and another is model, and then car contains two different values. So BMW and Tesla, and the model has X5 and S3. So if you see in a JSON format, then it will be showing something like that. It's a JSON object name equal to Jane, age 40, car is an array, and if we go inside, so if I click here, it has content 0 and 2. That means two value for cars, and then first element we have car, and for the second element we have model, which is also an array with list of values. So that has BMW and Tesla, and then it has X3 and S5. This is called multi-line. So if I want to read this file, if I now want to see the record, it is show me the record. But there is one interesting part that I want to show you. And as you see, the first line said it's record corrupted. Because of this multi-line structure, if I use the simple format or this format, it will going to give me this kind of corrupted record. So to read a multi-line JSON file, we need to use some additional option called multi-line and set the value to true. So PySpark will understand that the file is contain a multi-line data. And as you can see, it's able to read it in a proper manner, unlike this way because it's got corrupted. Now, if I want to put a print schema, now you show me exactly the way we want it. So far we have seen how we can read single line or multi-line JSON file. Next, we will see how to work with nested JSON. So using the explode function, we can flatten the complex structure and access the nested field easily. But first, we need to import the explode function. Next, we like to flatten the cards array so we can access individual element inside it. And we just maybe want to give an alias as car info. So alias is another way of giving the name of a column. So now you can see that it has created like two records, one for first element of the car, that is car, and then the model. So we can put this in a new data frame. So if we want to get the first element from the car info, so we can use the dot notation. So car info dot car will give me the information regarding the car. Similarly, we can use car info dot model. This is how we can work with JSON file in PySpark. And next, we need to talk about the Parquet file, which is one of the most popular data format these days. This format is specially designed for big data processing and highly optimized for both storage and speed. Unlike JSON or CSV, Parquet stored the data in columnar format, which make it super efficient for analytical process. But remember, it is not an human readable format unlike JSON and CSV. Once you put in the data frame, you can read it. It is self-describing. In addition to data, a Parquet file contains metadata, including schema and structure. Just like CSV and the JSON, loading data to data frame from Parquet is very simple. All we need to use spark.read.parquet method, or we can use spark.read.format and then define park within the format. And all we need to define the path of the file, since Parquet also stored the metadata, including the schema as I told you already, making it even easier to manage. And as you can see, it is pretty easy to read this data. So this is how you can read a Parquet file from PySpark. Now that you have seen how to load data in DataFrame from CSV, JSON, and Parquet file, let's talk about working with PySpark DataFrame. I already have that file here for you. The first two things we need to check is the number of records and number of column. So this is where we can make sure that all the records are there in the data frame. We can start by checking the number of records in our data frame using the count method. So let's say I create a variable called rows and I used df.count, and next I print a value count. As you can see, we have 121,253 records. Next, we like to see the number of columns in the data frame, and we can use the len function to count the number of columns. First, we will use df.columns to create a list that contains the name of the columns, and then we will use the len function on top of that, which will return the number of columns. Let me show you how to do that. If I say df.columns, then it will give me the name of all the columns. And next we print calls. So now we know the number of column is 39. So this is how we can get the basic information from the data frame. And there you have it. We have explored the basic of JSON and Parquet file handling with PySpark, along with some key data frame operation to streamline your workflow. I hope this will be helpful to you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel for more tutorial. Until next time, keep coding, keep learning, and stay curious. Thank you so much.